Hey, welcome. Have you ever been outside, pointed up at a giant bird circling way up high and shouted, "Hey, look, a buzzard," only to have someone say, actually, that's a vulture? Well, you are not alone, and today we are going to solve this sky-high identity crisis once and for all.
Okay, so picture this. You see that classic silhouette, just gliding on the wind, high above. What are you looking at? Is it a hawk, a vulture, a buzzard? Well, the crazy thing is, the answer totally depends on where in the world you happen to be standing. And look, this is a really common experience. Just like this Reddit user says, there are definitely some visual clues you can learn, but the confusion over the name runs so much deeper. This isn't just you getting it wrong. This is a massive mix-up that's been centuries in the making. So here's our flight plan. We're going to start with the mix-up itself. Then we'll dig into the name. What's its story? After that, we'll see what happened when that name crossed the ocean. Then comes a wild biological plot twist, and we'll wrap it all up with a handy field guide so you can be the expert next time.
All right, let's get into it. First up, the case of the mistaken identity. We are officially kicking off our investigation into why millions of people, especially right here in North America, call one bird by another one's name. So here it is, the heart of the whole problem. In North America, when you say buzzard, you mean a vulture. Simple enough, right? But pretty much everywhere else on the planet, a buzzard is a type of hawk. Yeah, it's the exact same word for two totally different birds.
You know, to untangle this, we gotta go back, way back. So let's look at our first clue, and that's the history of the word buzzard itself. Where did it come from, and what did it mean in the first place?
So the original definition? It's actually crystal clear. A buzzard is a buteo, that's a specific group or genus of hawks. And here's a fun little tidbit. The word even had this slightly snooty vibe to it. They were seen as inferior hawks, not quite good enough for the high-class sport of falconry.
So you can see the word's journey started all the way back around the year 1300. It came from the Latin word for hawk, buteo, took a little detour through Old French, and then landed in English. And for hundreds of years, the meaning never changed. A buzzard was a hawk, period.
Okay, next up, a tale of two worlds. This is where things get really interesting. It's the story of how a simple word with a very clear meaning hopped on a boat, crossed the Atlantic Ocean, and kicked off centuries of confusion. And here it is. This is the moment it all went sideways. European settlers land in this new continent, right? They look up, they see these big, broad-winged birds circling overhead. Now, they'd never seen a turkey vulture before, so they just reached for the closest word they had in their vocabulary for a big, soaring bird, buzzard, and it just stuck. So let's put this side by side to make it super clear. In the old world, the original buzzard is a hawk from the buteo family. But in the new world, the American buzzard is the imposter. It's actually a turkey vulture, a totally different bird that just inherited the name by mistake.
But wait, the story gets even cooler than a simple language mix-up. There's a fascinating biological plot twist here. I mean, why do these two completely unrelated birds look similar enough for people to confuse them in the first place?
The answer is this incredible idea called convergent evolution. Basically, it's when two totally different species on separate branches of the evolutionary tree independently come up with the same solution to the same problem. And in this case, the problem was, how do you become the world's most efficient, large-bodied garbage disposal? And you have to hear this, it's mind-blowing. Scientists have looked at the genetics, and it turns out that this whole vulture lifestyle, specializing in eating carrion, has evolved completely on its own at least 3 separate times. It's such a successful niche that nature just keeps inventing it over and over again. And when you really look at the biology, they're worlds apart. Old world vultures, they're basically cousins to hawks and eagles, but our new world vultures, like the turkey vulture, they're off on their own evolutionary branch. Old world vultures find food with their laser-sharp eyesight. New world vultures use a ridiculously good sense of smell. But look at that last line. The one big thing they share is that bald head. It's the perfect adaptation for staying clean on the job. A perfect example of convergent evolution.
Okay, so we've cracked the historical case, and we've uncovered the biological twist. Now for the really fun part. Let's turn you from a confused bystander into a confident, pro-level sky spotter. So the next time you're out and about and you see that big bird soaring, how do you know for sure if you're looking at an American buzzard, a turkey vulture? Well, there are a few dead giveaways. All right, here's your cheat sheet. First, just remember V is for vulture. They hold their wings up in a shallow V shape, not flat like a hawk or an eagle. Second, and this is the big one, look for the wobble. They're kind of unstable, rocking and tipping from side to side. Eagles and hawks are rock steady.
Also, look for those two-toned wings and the splayed fingers at their wingtips.
And honestly, if you only remember one thing from today, make it this fantastic line from another birdwatcher on Reddit. The idea of a drunkard of the sky. I mean, it's hilarious, it's memorable, and it is a surprisingly perfect way to describe that wobbly flight.
So when you really get down to it, that bird you might have been calling a buzzard your whole life tells such an incredible story. It's so much more than a simple naming mistake. It's this perfect intersection of human language, of migration, and the unbelievably clever force of evolution, all colliding right there in the sky above our heads.
It really makes you wonder, right? If a buzzard isn't a buzzard, what other biological imposters are out there, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for us to take a closer look? Thanks so much for watching.